Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're taking a look at two brand new cards revealed for the valuable book EX5. This is like such a low key product, but it has been a banger in the past. If you don't know, last year this is the product in the OCG where Phantom of Ubel came out. Yeah, I don't know, maybe like the single most powerful card in that entire deck. Yeah, that card's crazy. So basically, I look at this and I go, okay, this could be fully legit. So let's approach it with that mindset. And they got some cool stuff. They definitely have some anime stuff here. The first card here is a new Gaia, the Fierce Knight card, which is really cool. Apparently, the name of it is Soul Gaia, the Fierce Knight. It looks like it's Millennium support, or better known as Exodia support. The newly made archetype, reformed archetype from last year. It's really cool. This is a level 6 Earth Warrior effect monster, 2300 attack, 2100 defense. You can only use the third effect once per turn. Three effects on this card. If a level 5 or higher monster is on the field, you can normal summon this card without tributing. Key here is on the field. Doesn't even need you to have a level 5 or higher monster on the field. That's really nice. I wish this card specialed instead of normaling. I know that the Millennium deck / Exodia deck doesn't really have a great normal summon, so this probably becomes the best normal summon in the deck. But for a deck that doesn't have a normal summon, you'd still want to add a good normal summon. Not that this card isn't good, it's just feels like it could be an extender. Anything you see that's level 5 or higher, you're like, I want that to be an extender, not my normal. But it's still pretty good, all things considered. Second effect, increase the levels of all monsters your opponent's normal or special summoned in attack position while this monster was on the field by 7. I know it's worded kind of weird, but basically what this is saying is if your opponent summons a monster in attack position, it's going to gain 7 levels automatically. This doesn't even activate, by the way. This is just a continuous effect that just applies when your opponent summons stuff. This isn't the craziest effect in the world. This is kind of the bonus effect here, but it does have some utility. I mean, just think about Ryziel. Like 90% of the time they want to just be normal summoning ice. This means ice will always be level 7 because you can't normal summon in defense position. So ice is always going to be an unusable body, at least for rank 4 plays, which is really nice. I know Fiendsmith Ryziel is a thing and they could still try and use it for lines into the Fiendsmith package, but you're limiting their options overall. So it's not going to have crazy high impact, in my opinion, because most effects that like are really good and summon things out more often than not summon in defense position. So I don't think it's going to be the craziest thing, but I do think there are scenarios where this card could take a body away from your opponent effectively, right? Whether it's a synchro deck or an Exceed based deck, they either get a tuner monster that's now from a level 1 tuner to a level 8 tuner. That's a huge difference, and their deck probably just isn't designed in the extract to make use of a level 8 tuner like that, right? So it's just stuff like that where if they have to normal summon something that does require a certain level to continue to get used in a line, it may just take it away. So not a broken effect, but a nice little bonus effect that kind of is a weirdly specific one, but I kind of like the idea of it. Next up, third effect. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can send one other level 5 or higher monster you control to the graveyard as cost. Negate the activation if you do destroy that card. So this card's also just a walking monster negate. I like it, man. I think this card's actually pretty good for the deck. This deck as an engine could be kind of interesting. I believe this card is searchable off of is it Caveman and maybe even the continuous, because I'm sorry, not the field spell places one in the spell and trap zone. But I believe this guy is searchable at least off of the Caveman, which is still pretty cool. Is it Sengenjin? I think he's searchable off of that guy. So there's a lot of cool effects here. There's a lot of cool just application here. I like that the Exodia boss monster, the Exodia fusion, he is like a spell and trap negate, and he also gets you a bonus trap to be a bonus interruption. But now if you open extra engine cards, you just didn't have as much to do with those cards. Now you can play this guy, even if he's just a one of, get him when you already have a line into Exodia and set up a monster negate and a potential mini floodgate. That's pretty strong, all things considered. So I think this card's pretty cool. I like a lot of what's going on here. And this is a solid card, honestly, for a deck. Especially like normally, I'd be really disrupted by the fact that it has to take your normal summon, but because it the deck doesn't have a normal summon anyway, it still works out in my opinion. So I'm in on it. I like it. All right, and the other new card we got revealed last night was Vice Shark. This is a brand new Shark card. This card's artwork is crazy. Look at him. He is ugly as all sin. Of course. Gaia, by the way, Gaia looks cool. At first, when I saw him, I was not sure if he was going to be Millennium support or the gold sarcophagus support, because Yugi also uses Gaia. And then if you look closer, though, you can tell that it is specifically of the art style shown in the Millennium archetype, not really the gold Sark archetype. So I love it. It's just definitely more of a throwback style of artwork, and I think it fits perfectly for Millennium archetype. It's really cool. Anyway, Vice Shark, level 4 water fish, 1800 attack, 1100 defense. Pretty good attack, actually. You can only use the first effect once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you contribute one fish monster to special summon one fish shark monster from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except water monsters. Second, well, I'm gonna talk about, let's do one by one. This effect is good and bad. This card is basically Beautiful Princess, but I think the nicer part about this card is it itself is level 4. So this card doesn't have the awkwardness of like, I guess to be fair, Beautiful Princess banishes cost anyway. But if it went to the grave, if you had some sort of reborn spell and your opponent still negated or whatever, there was no getting it back or anything. And even if it did go to grave, you still wouldn't be able to get it back because it's not a level 4, so it's not like doing anything for you, right? It's already been used. This card's at least a level 4, which offers a couple different things. One, it tributes, so it goes to grave. So you do get a level 4 fish in grave, which does matter in certain instances. And just summoning a shark from deck is good. You can summon Big Jaws. You can summon, there's no water restriction here, so you can summon Abyss Shark. I know he won't search on summon, but still. And you can also summon Buzzsaw. So Buzzsaw and Big Jaws are probably the two most important ones, I would think. Does lock you into waters, which does lock you out of some stuff, but Bahamut, Toad, the Armored Exceed package, you are still totally live on. So you still have plenty of options. Kragan as well. You should be fine there. This effect's pretty good. What I like about this effect too is it's on summon. So on summon, it tributes as cost. So this card can like never be hit by Veil or Imperm. And Ash really becomes the one card that's worrisome. Ash, and then I guess I would say Impulse as well. So keep that in mind. Even though it is super weak, because you do just lose the body and the effect to Ash, you do never lose to like Veil or Imperm, at least on this card. What you summon can give Veil or Imperm, but that's still okay, because you still get a level 4 water out of the outcome there. Anyway, second effect here, a Shark Drake Exceed monster that has this card as material gains this effect. Once per turn, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can attach 2 materials from this card as cost, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. This effect's also pretty relevant. I think I've been overall against the Shark Drake cards for the most part, but I do think that this is the type of card that could make the Shark Drake boss monster more relevant. To me, that card was just so underwhelming. I get it, he could push for a lot of damage, and he was still like a walking impermanence type effect. A little bit stronger, but basically impermanence. This card, though, if you're telling me you can make a boss monster now that is a spell and trap negate and a walking impermanence all in one package, and once you like stop your opponent for the turn, he can attack twice, and he's like huge. He's like 3,100 to start with no buffs. That's a monster that can get ginormous. That's like good value going first and really strong going second as well, to just push into boards or just like to finish up games. And I actually think this card could find a home in the deck. It's a little bit specific, I will say that, and Hydrojet Shark as well kind of had a similar feel to this card. At least Hydrojet Shark could summon from the hand if you got to an Exceed. This guy does have no effect that like summons him without normal summon. So that's the downside for me, is that this guy is pretty normal summon reliant, and the deck just already has a bunch of normal summons that are decent, whether you're talking surfacing Big Jaws if you don't have spell access and you need to normal him, or Buzzsaw Shark, obviously, he's your main normal summon. And even Hydrojet. If you do not have a line that like guarantees you into an Exceed already, Hydrojet is actually a decent normal summon. It's a one card Kragan at the very least. So there is value in that. But all in all, like I think these cards are decent. I really do. I think this guy could find his way in a deck as a one of. Listen, it's not bad that he's not an extender because at the very least, he is just another normal summon, right? So imagine if you play a version of the deck where, you know, you're going to play Surfacing Big Jaws at 3. You're going to play Abyss Shark at 3. You're going to play Buzzsaw at 3. Those are the 3 best, like, opening cards you can open. But aside from that, if you're telling me the only other, like, normal summon reliant cards are 1 copy of Hydrojet and 1 copy of Vice Shark, then you end up with actually 5 normal summons, right? The 3 Buzzsaws and the 2 of these guys, and the rest are mostly extenders. I think that actually could still work in a way where if you had a hand that did not need its normal summon, you could search this card out instead of going through Buzzsaw and just choose to make sure you're using this card as material for a Shark Drake, and then boom, you can go right into a line where you're ending on him with an imperfect and a spell and trap negate, and of course everything else the deck wants to end on. So I think this card's kind of cool. It's interesting. Not sure if it's going to see play, but it's definitely a card I'm going to contemplate when I go to build the deck, because I do have plans to mess with this deck for sure. And this guy, just nice to get a new option. Even if you don't resolve the spell to get the Exodia fusion out, at least the deck now has a secondary game plan. You know what I mean? And I know it's not like a full-on end board, but it's like, this is a solid end board piece where, like, if your opponent to throw 2 hand traps at you and you still set up this monster negate and mini floodgate and 1 or 2 hand traps in hand, you might still be feeling okay about yourself. So I think both these cards work out pretty well overall. Not quite as strong as Phantom of Yubel, but still 2 potentially very useful cards for their individual archetypes. That's it for me today, though. Thank you so much for watching, as always, guys. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below on this. If you're a fan of Millennium, if you play the deck, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how good you think this card is and its applications. And same thing for the Shark players out there. If you've been messing with Sharks, I want to know where you guys land on this new card as well. I have seen some recent players and players that are known for messing with Sharks. Shout out to Daddy Shark, already messing around with the Shark Drake stuff. So if he's already messing with that, this may be a card that, it appeals to him even more so. So we'll see. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. So let me know down below. I'm bringing you guys news whenever it comes. Got the computer fixed. We're good to go. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.